Hey you guys, it's me, Dr. Wendy, and I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about what my reservations were and why I think that speculum video is so important. I said that I went back and forth a lot about posting that video because the thing about it is there's a lot of offices, hospitals that don't have multiple speculum sizes. And I remember being in training and all we had was this plastic speculum. I literally bought this on Amazon, you guys, like just to be able to, because I was like, I promise you those plastic speculums were bigger. And there was one that was bigger than this, that was like for people who needed one bigger than this, and I'll get to that. But this was like the smaller size when I was in training. I don't know if there's one smaller than this, there may be, but I remember being like, man, even when I had to have my exams, like that thing was pretty big. And then when I got to my practice now, where all of our speculums are metal and we have like various sizes, which I have another video on here that shows the various sizes, I was like, wow, like this is why people tell me like, well, I mean, of course I think I have decent technique, like I have a finesse when it comes to exams, but people are like, oh, it finally didn't hurt. Finally, it's the first time that I've had a gynecologic exam that doesn't hurt. It's because the speculum is smaller and it doesn't require that much spread in order to see what's going on in there. That's just my theory about it. And so, I said, well, I want people to know that there are different sizes. I want people to know that they have options. But then at the same time, sometimes people don't have options, right? Like if you go to a health system and they only have one size, that is what it is. Like, for example, somebody recently mentioned Nella in my comments. Nella is a new type of speculum that's even smaller, and it opens like 4 ways, like up and down and sideways, so that the provider can see, but it's not that big. Well, I had the Nella people come, and them speculums are expensive. And for us, when we have like a plethora of sizes, it may not make sense for us, at least at this point, to buy a bunch of these Nella speculums when we have variation already. But for a health system where all they have is the big mamas, it may make more sense. And so for you as a consumer or as a patient, maybe you put pressure on your health system to have more comfortable speculums, but maybe you don't have that option. And so again, I wanted people to see their sizes. I want people to know there are options, but I also want people to know that like your health is like, number one, right? Cervical cancer is so preventable. Cervical cancer, you will stop that 99.999% of times as long as you just get your pap tests. And how many people don't go get their paps or don't go get STI screening or don't go to the gynecologist at all because they're afraid of the speculum. So I hope that added some insight. Like again, I was afraid to share it because I didn't want people to, now have this like information and not have anything to do with it. But hopefully you do have something to do with it, that one, you know that there are options, and maybe you call your provider office and see, do they have different sizes? Maybe you put pressure on your health system to have various options. Did a man make this? Probably, well, I know from a historic standpoint, it was created in like Germany or something. I'm not gonna get into that, but this being the standard size speculum, this is not standard to me. This is large, even though this is the one that a lot of health systems have. So, and again, technique. So there's, various ways to do a speculum exam. You can kind of put the speculum in and just open it, but you shouldn't do that. You should kind of put it in, like find your way, take your time, get to where it looks like I actually open the speculum just a little bit just to see if I can see the cervix. Then once I see the cervix, then I open a little bit more to do the exam, to do the swab. Somebody asked if this plastic ones you can see on both sides. Like, I'm not looking through this to see both sides or all sides of the vagina. I mean, in theory, with the metal one, yes, you can't see through it, but that's not what we're doing. We're like trying to get to the top of the vagina, and you can see the sides of the vagina along the way. So if there was any concern from a lesion standpoint, in theory, you'd see that. But anyway, I'm deviating from the purpose. I just wanted you guys to know that I wanted this to be informative. I hope it's not like anxiety provoking. I hope it's not, leaving you just frustrated, but maybe giving you some information that you didn't have before. All right, guys, talk to you soon. Bye.